Hey folks, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of From the Canopy Film Show, and I'm joined as always with my co-host Cornelius, aka Evil Corny.
Hey, what's up, Corey?
What's going on, man? So if you're a first-time viewer, our task here is to review films that we've been seeing lately. Recent releases, whether it's in the theater, streaming, or whatever. But we got a lot on deck, so let's get right to it. So the first film I'm going to talk about is a film called Relay, and this film was actually part of the Screen Unseen at AMC theaters. So part of that program, I think Regal has the same thing. So usually these films are films you get a look at early, and this one's scheduled to be out August 22nd. But I saw it early, and this film stars Riz Ahmed, Lily James, and Sam Worthington. A bribe broker facilitates deals between corrupt companies and their threats. He breaks his own rules when a client needs protection, complicating his usual operations. So pretty much this character in this film, played by Riz Ahmed, is responsible for negotiating deals with whistleblowers, at these companies and such like that. So I was actually surprised about this film. I hadn't heard about it. By the time I went in, people usually do a good job of guessing what these films are going to be. And someone pointed out that it was Relay. And I had a rather good time with this, man. So it's a film that kind of has a really old school kind of spy espionage vibes to it. And I definitely appreciated that, man. So for the most part, it's got some pretty strong performances. Riz Ahmed, he's pretty cool. Lily James is the character that comes to him, initially seeking his help. She's working at a pharmaceutical company, and they find out that a product that they're about to put on the market has had problems that were buried by this company. And, that could be harmful to consumers who use it. So, and it's interesting because she comes to him because she wants to negotiate with the company to kind of pull back her initial whistleblowing. For some reason, she's just has a change of heart and decides that, they've already uprooted her life and kind of ruined her. So I guess she's trying to pull that back and get some money from them that'll kind of help, her financially, since she's, not working anymore, and it's probably going to be just blacklisted out of the industry. And then it goes from there. But I will say, man, it kept me engaged through the whole thing. Even with this 2 hour runtime, it was moving along at a pretty good clip. I think it was cool seeing Riz Ahmed's character. And, initially the way he communicates with her is just, with this relay system, which is interesting, man. They're using the relay system that deaf people use to facilitate these phone calls. And, according to this film, what's interesting, these records between these people, and they're not subject to government scrutiny. It's almost like when you're going to the doctor, your doctor can't tell, disclose what you're going to the doctor for.
Okay.
So this relay system can't report the nature of the messages, but it leads to some weird situations because they're giving distinct instructions, back and forth. And I'm thinking the person that's on the relay end of this call is probably like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
What am I listening to? So, but for the most part, I thought this film did a good job for what it did, man. I think if I gotta rate it, I'm gonna probably give it a 3.75. Like, it's good enough in the moment, and there's some really cool stuff. Like I said, I love the cat and mouse play because Sam Worthington, his character on the other side, he's a team of corporate security. So he's trying to get, he's in contact with Riz's character, but at the same time, he's trying to intercept them. So, if we could get this documents back in our hands, and we don't have to pay this money, you know what I'm saying? So I get the sense that his crew, and they're a little rough and tough, man. They've got guns and such like that. So I get the idea that they're kind of working on the dark side, you know what I'm saying, in a way for these corporate guys. So there's a cool cat and mouse going on between him and Riz Ahmed. And Worthington's good here, man. I'm just used to him being an Avatar or really bad movies, but he's good as a head bad guy here. I really enjoyed that. Lily James, she's good, and Riz is good. And there's some other characters, especially some more characters that make up Worthington's crew, in this film. But this thing is solid, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to be something I'll go out of my way to track down and watch again, but in the moment, it actually worked like pretty well. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even have idea this movie existed because I hadn't seen the trailer at all for it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I went to see I saw the I thought it was only playing one day, but they had to add an extra day, so I had some time. So I went to go see The
Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla
Yeah.
release. It's pretty cool, man. I love that film. But they played this trailer before I watched that film, so that was kind of interesting to see this trailer actually. After I haven't already seen the movie. So, but yeah, it's a cool little film, man. If you're into this kind of stuff, definitely reminds me of just some of these, classic, espionage spy kind of, films with a little bit of the cyber stuff going on because it looks like it's taking place in a modern world. There's cell phones and all that kind of stuff, social
Okay.
media. But it's pretty cool, man.
I still got to catch up with Black Bag. I know that's on Peacock right now, but I hadn't sat down and watched
Oh,
it.
that's a great one, man. That's great, bro. That film's probably that's definitely on my best of the year so far. So the next film I'm gonna bring up is a film called Together, and this is a horror thriller film, and the story is directed by Michael Shanks. So the story is this is years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroad when they move to the countryside, abandoning all that is familiar in their lives except each other. With tensions already flaring, a nightmarish encounter with the mysterious unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. And this film, for the most part, we're starring Dave Franco. I guess he's replacing James Franco lately. I think if James Franco didn't get into trouble, he would probably got this role instead of his brother. But it also stars Alison Brie, and interestingly enough, they're a couple in real life, so that's kind of adds some dynamics to this thing.
That would have made it kind
Also,
of awkward if James was in this film, though, wouldn't
yeah, a little bit, but
it?
actors be acting. I don't know. So we got Damon the Harriman as well as Melanie Betty and Carl Richmond in this. But what you think of this film, man?
I thought it was interesting. Without really spoiling too much about it, I'm glad it was a good. It ended up being a good mystery, even though we get this weird trailer from this where these two people are pretty much might be merging together or whatever. But the mystery behind it was kind of interesting. It had some cult type activity going on there, which I kind of like. I thought it was executed well, but it was kind of lacking in parts, and in parts of it, I didn't know. You really don't know if it wanted to be a body horror film or comedy in parts of it. And I was kind of confused by that. I kind of
Mhm.
wish that this was a little bit more consistent all the way through, but toward the end, it kind of got somewhat silly, it
Mhm.
kind of got somewhat silly to start off
Yeah,
like as a somewhat serious film because
yeah,
they start out with like relationship problems and everything. And he doesn't drive. And, she was, he's be stuck at home and everything. And she was the one that was out working and everything. So
mhm.
I kind of thought that was kind of a weird dynamic to get started with. But, from there,
Yeah,
I thought it was a pretty good movie, but overall, I don't think it was overall executed.
yeah. That's the thing because that is an interesting dynamic because when we meet them, they're kind of drifting apart, and then this thing happens that they kind of allude to in the beginning with these dogs, and it draws them back together, and then like, and I think for me, man, I really didn't enjoy this film until like that last 30 minutes where I felt like everything clicked in for me. I felt like a lot of the stuff they were doing with the relationship, it just wasn't bubbling enough to keep it
Yeah.
interesting. I like, I'm just more concerned about this whole that's on this property that seems to be the source of everything. And then by the time it does get a little bit of oomph when like I said, we get to the back half and we kind of realize some of the stuff that's going on. If they realize what's happening to them and they're trying to fight and resist it, that becomes a little fun and interesting. But I feel like I feel like if we maintain our same energy from the beginning toward the end and it just started ramping it up, like especially having a comedy in there, I think we could have had them drifting apart in a more comedic tone instead of it being a little serious, very serious,
Yeah. Yeah.
at times. Yeah, the tone was uneven, man, and I think it's a film that it's not a terribly long film, but it felt at times things were just dragging, for me. Some of the exposition and some of the conflicts, and yeah, it does have the body horror element, but I'm kind of also getting tired of that being a selling point lately. Every body horror, body horror. I'm like, all right, I guess, but
What's
body
happening
horror.
there? What's happening in this is a little bit more interesting. Like I said,
Mhm.
the stuff that we got out of Bring Her Back, I just thought that was just excessive. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Things
Mhm.
that happened there, I just thought was just
Yeah,
good.
yeah, but I'm tired of that just being the selling point. Like
Yeah.
it's like lately with some of this advertising is body horror, body. But I'm like, All right, and I think some of the sequences we got in this thing were cool, but I think this film, there's a good film in here, you know what I'm saying? But it just wasn't executed in a way that I think would have made this, really stand out for me or really, really, really work for me. It's like I said, man, like I would say most of the middle of this film, I'm like, well, what's up with them dogs? And they finally do get back to the, why the dogs are wet. But I felt like a lot of that stuff chunk in the middle was just really dragging, man. It was just like,
Yeah,
dang, dude, like if this thing had a little bit more oomph in the presentation, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just in a weird space right now. I feel like I have the issues with this the same issues I had with Eddington. It's just like I feel like we got a really beginning of the film that's not as good as the later half, or by the time we get to the conclusion. And it makes me wonder, is like, yo, if I did have to rewatch this, I'm probably gonna fast forward until maybe the halfway point. It's like you're making a lot of your film just really hard to sit through just to get this payoff that I don't think was worth sitting through all of that, rough stuff, that
yeah,
had me
yeah.
shifting in my seat, looking at my watch and all that. But I would say see it, man. I think there are people that are getting the good stuff out of it. I mean, I think the acting was pretty solid, for what the characters had to do. And like you said, man, some of those sequences are really interesting, and especially them trying to, whatever it is, trying to pull them together and them starting to fight it. And then by the
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
it does get, chuckle worthy and interesting as it gets more ridiculous with their efforts, and you're like, whoa, this is wild,
Yeah, they're
it's
basically
crazy.
meat magnets at one point.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it gets a little wild, man. But Together is out there, man. I think it actually is available if you want to rent it too. It is still playing in theaters and places, but I think you get it at home video if you want to rent it or buy it. So my next one is one I didn't think I was going to see at first, and I'm going to be talking about The Naked Gun. So in this film, Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr. Pay attention to that. Becomes a police officer like his legendary father and must save the police department from shutting down by solving a case. It's directed by Akiva Schaffer, and our main characters in this film are going to be Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, Cody Rhodes makes an appearance, but he's not our main guy. But also Paul Walter Hauser, and also want to point out
The mole man
Kevin
himself.
Durand. Hmm?
The mole man himself.
Yeah, yeah, right. We also got Kevin Durand. Oh man, he was great in that role, man. But yeah, so what's interesting about this film, man? It is a direct sequel to this franchise, and like I said, I wasn't really going to go see this at first, but I kept seeing people that I follow giving this thing great reviews, and I was like, hell, I got the time, let me go see it. And man, this is the crazy part, man. I wrecked my bike on the way to the theater. Like I
You
decided
what?
to, yeah, I wrecked my bike, man. I fell down. A bug flew on my eye, knocked me off balance. When I opened my eye, I'm running right into a curb. I had no time to adjust. Maybe I could
You,
have popped
you,
a
you start
wheelie
you
and
started up
saved
kind of like
myself.
OJ did in the first Naked Gun, didn't you?
Yeah, so I hit this curb, went flying over the thing, man. So I banged my knee. By the time I get to the theater, I didn't really know how hurt I was, so my ribs were hurting. Right, like I bruised my ribs up really bad. I don't know if I hit the ground or too hard or hit the handlebars during the wreck. So I'm in this theater, man. I'm still hurting, man, and I'm hurting even more because this thing is making me laugh. And every time I laugh, my ribs were hurting. And I didn't know that this kind of comedy could still work, but they went all out, man. The jokes, the puns, the slapstick, it was so ridiculous. And also the homages to the previous series, man. Because like there's a scene where where they're he's in his office and there's a picture of his dad, Frank Drebin, on the wall, and it's like a tough time for them. They're trying to figure some stuff out. It's like, yeah, Dad, man, if I could just be as good as you, and all the other officers in this office are also kneeling in this hallway that has pictures of. They're all sons of other officers. There's even a black officer who's the son of OJ Simpson. And there's a picture of OJ Simpson on the wall, and they're all saying positive stuff about their dad. And they get to him, and he's like, man, I got nothing. And I'm just like, yo, the audacity to go there. Like this
Yeah,
film,
yeah.
this was a good time, dude. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time. And I think it's dope having Pamela Anderson in there. And I hope she gets more work off of this. Cause like I think they should just keep this going with her and Liam. Cause it's wild because you don't really see so much older actors and being with love interest on screen with actors that are the same age as
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I think that was cool, and they were sizzling, man. It was just fun, man, watching them. Her comedic timing is great, his was great, and just the wacky, silly, stupid stuff going on around them, man. Like I didn't know that I would laugh so hard at this film, but everyone was saying that they were just had a riot, man. They had a good time, just watching this film, man. I highly recommend this, man. If you really want to go and see and laugh, man, like yeah, definitely check out The Naked Gun, man,
I
2025.
I never thought that Pamela Anderson was like the best actress, but like
Nah.
some of the stuff she's been in, like the show VIP, I always thought that was a neat little show
Yeah,
when
I
she.
used to watch that.
I used to watch that back in the day,
When I
but
was a kid.
for a silly show, that was she did good in that show,
But see, it's making me think, man. Though I think her career would have been way better if they casted her for stuff like this instead of just playing up
trying
her
to take
looks
her as a
mostly,
sex, yeah,
and yeah, getting like barbed wire and trash
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like she could have probably
That's
done a
not
really.
that's not really her personality or
Yeah,
whatever.
she could
Yeah,
have,
yeah, yeah,
cause I mean, she had small roles on, what was that? Home Improvement. But
yeah. Home
even
Improvement.
then, that
Yeah,
was still
yeah,
a comedic, tinted series. So why not play into that more than
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
just be like, all right, she's sexy. That's going to be they'll come to see this. And I'm like,
yeah.
yo, probably would have had a much better result. So I think they're going to definitely sequelize this, man. I would definitely like to see everybody involved come back. Walter Hauser, he's been my great bit part actor, man, lately, man. Especially the Mole Man, and he does the same thing in this film, man. He does some really fun stuff. He's like
I,
Drebin's partner, in a sense, trying to solve this case.
I became a fan of his from Cobra Kai
Hmm.
because he plays a character in there that's something else.
Yeah,
He's a grown
yeah.
man with some of these kids. He almost like
Hmm.
Kramer is in that episode of Seinfeld where he's mostly around kids that's practicing karate, and
Hmm.
he's in the middle of them. That's how he is in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's his character in there just a damn trip to me.
Yeah, he's good, man. Everything I've seen him in, he's nailed it, and he's definitely one of my favorite actors these days, man. If I see him pop up on the screen, I get immediately happy, especially because I didn't know he was going to be the Mole Man, and he ate every little bit he was in that movie. That's a character they need to keep coming back to in the MCU, man. I would like to see Mole Man meet what's my man's name? Penna
Michael Pena
from
and
yeah, Michael. Yeah, if they could bring these two, yeah, they might be able to bring back Ant-Man from the negative reactions to Quantum Mania. If they get these two back together again, man,
but
like
but
I
one
don't
of my
know,
things is
they
I kind
need
of
the
wish
crew
that
back.
we would have had Michael Pena's character
Hmm.
interacting with somebody in the beginning of Endgame, just giving
Hmm.
a rundown of everything that happened. Because if you imagine
That's
him just
wild.
tell a watcher or somebody like that what's
Hmm.
been happening the whole time,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was one of my favorite characters in the Ant-Man series.
Yeah, they were sorely missed in part three, man. That
Yeah,
crew, I don't know
him and
why they
Dale,
didn't bring them back.
him and Dale Smokin and
Hmm.
Ti, yeah, the three of them.
And this one did great, man. Opening weekend. It's by director Zach Kreger, and it's going to be called Weapons. And in this film, when all but one child from the same classroom mysteriously vanished on the same night at exactly the same time, the community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. And this film stars Julia Garner. We got Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams. We also got in here. There's a bunch
I
of
thought it
people
was
in
just
here,
real
man.
neat. We had the Silver Surfer, Wong, and Thanos
Thanos.
slash Angle in the same film together.
Hmm. Yeah, and a bunch of kids, man. So I don't know, man. I feel like this film is also in the realm, man. I gotta put this in the realm lately with Eddington and Together, where I feel like there's some great parts of this film, but there's also parts of it that don't work for me, man. And it's crazy because I really love Barbarian by Zach Kreger, and I think Barbarian worked because it was a film about subverted expectations. You know what I'm saying? Definitely the setup in that, and I think he's trying to do the same thing here. But it's got a little bit more complicated in the process of making this. Maybe he was trying to outdo Barbarian bad. So I think this film has a lot more fat that could have been trimmed. But I will say what I did like about it, man. I think what I liked about it was just the premise and the setup. I think that was cool. We see that in the trailer where, mysteriously this neighborhood, this one teacher's whole class doesn't show up. I think except for one kid, and it's 2:17 a.m. They all walk out of their homes, and for some reason they're doing a Naruto run, which is a little wacky. But you know what I'm saying. But then I think for the most part the performances are great in this. I really did like my favorite was probably Brolin in this, and also who's the kid that plays the crackhead? Um was that Austin Abrams?
Oh, I had to. I had
I'm
to.
trying to go by the face, but he looks too cleaned up here. I think that is the kid, Austin Abrams, and apparently this whole cast was recast because I guess initially when they planned to make this film, the timing was messed up, so all the actors they initially casted, including your boy Mr. Fantastic, he was
Yeah,
supposed to play Brolin's character.
Pascal's will be in it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be Brolin's character. So the only one that stayed over from that first casting was Austin Abrams, who plays the character James in here. And he was nutty, man. The way he's tied into all of that, that's when I was having fun. But and also I think the ultimate mystery, I'm not gonna spoil that comes to play. It had a little bit of interest stuff. It tracks with what we've got from Craig's Barbarian, and then the finale was a little wild, but I just felt like this thing, man, there was a chunk of it from the initial setup. I was like, all right, I'm in. But then I think we're trying to they're doing this thing where we're doing this overlapping Pulp Fiction kind of chapter reveal. There's overlap. There's some story. We're getting different point of views and different accounts of certain events to help unravel this mystery. And some of these chapters or some of these characters just felt more interesting to me than others. I think we got a little bit of too much time with Julia Gardner's character that wasn't directly related to the mystery itself. I was like, okay, I don't need to see you, you know what I'm saying, hanging out with this officer and like carrying on. So it kind of made this thing a little bit inflated for me, man. You know what I'm saying? By the time it sapped a lot of energy around me, that first hour, dude, I kid you not, man. I don't know what's going on with me lately, Courtney. Maybe I'm losing patience, but it's
It
like if you
well,
make a long
well,
film, I feel like I
well,
gotta be in there. You gotta have me
well.
entertained for that whole time. Like
See,
it's
see, I really love this film, and I didn't
Mhm.
really see any
A
problems
lot
with
of
it.
people
But
do. I feel like I'm on the outside with this film. A lot of
but
people love it.
but thing about it is like when you're dealing with like a mystery and stuff, everything needs to be playing out. You can't look at a certain thing because you don't really know what's relevant and non-relevant to what's going what the overall picture is. I
Until
enjoyed
you get to
every
the
bit about.
end. Until you get to the
Well, you
end.
just learn it. You kind of learning about the character and what the state of mind is in and all that. But overall, I love this film, and then I didn't know nobody spoiled anything for this from me on this. But I
hmm
will. The only thing I will say it's something supernatural happening in this,
hmm
and
See, I
that pretty
wasn't gonna
much.
go do that for y'all. I was trying to go in as blind as possible. Courtney's spoiling it for you. Don't get mad.
Well, well, yeah. I will. I'll only say that, but the whole premise on that just caught me completely off guard because I didn't know what direction we was going in this film. I
hmm
didn't know if it was. I was just thinking it was like a alien type deal that was happening, and it was going to be a big alien abduction type thing. That's what
See,
that's the only thing I thought about during
I
the film.
wasn't thinking aliens, man, because the thing that got me, because like not that there's any rules that you can't do something different because you did something before,
Yeah,
because Barbarian was grounded in reality, even though it was absurd and crazy.
yeah,
I thought it would be something similar, like more just instead of a supernatural phenomenon happen, a more different kind of explanation. But there were things in here, like I said, man, and like the thing that blew me today, I saw an interview with Kreger and he's like, yeah, there's some plot holes in this thing. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't notice any plot holes, but there were people that were complaining about a particular scene involving the officer. And, that didn't, pick, throw me out or make me wonder what, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like, it's just, I get to the end of this thing and I was like, okay, this was kind of cool. But to me, it felt like a roundabout way to make a scene that resemble the end of Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead. You know, it's like this is a
Yeah, that
convoluted way,
I did.
to get to
Yeah,
that point,
I did.
which was a cool image. And I was and as I'm watching it happen, I
Well,
was like, how far is
I
it going
will.
to go?
I,
I was like, how far is it going to go? And then when it went all the way, I was like, yes, okay, he didn't back away. He went all in. You know, but I don't know. Like
I will tell you this.
mhm.
This might be one of the most intense films I think I've seen in a long time because you don't really know what's happening, and then when you start figuring out what's happening, you start saying to yourself, "How effed up is this? How in the world and how effed up of a character is this to have this going on?" And then whenever the tables get turned,
Mhm.
that was probably the most entertaining I think I've had in a long time in a film. I'm just
Mhm.
talking about I was almost rooting, for what was going on, when the tables got turned. And by the way, Benedict Wong,
He's
whatever
fun,
the stuff
man.
that goes on with his character, that was so messed up.
Mhm.
I just
He was nuts. But my thing too, when I look at something like this, like for me, a lot of mysteries, they don't really have a lot of replay value for me if everything else, the solving of the mystery isn't as good as the final reveal. And I think this film has a really great final reveal, but I can't see myself willing to sit through all of that again just to get to those few banger moments at the end. And it's like, and I think that's the biggest problem for me because,
I'm
like I said, at first the Tarantino style chapter thing that was floating me for a bit, but then it got a little bit repetitive, and I don't think I was getting enough from each of these chapters. Like by the time things really ramp up and start going, I was kind of just like beat up and worn out. It was stretching my attention span to the thinnest, to the tiniest frame, bro. I was fatigued, bro.
I was
I was
all
like,
in
ah.
because when we get the first reveal about what's happening, I was wondering how are they going to get out of this situation because I didn't, I was at a
Mhm.
point in this film to where I don't know. I just
I
thought the
think
bad guy was going to win. You know what I'm saying?
I think you know what it is, man. I think for me, maybe it's just I've seen so much of this stuff, and it's like my brain, like I had figured out a lot of things early, or a lot of possibilities where things could go early, and it's not like I was trying to, but it's like once things got to a point, like I'll put it this way, man. I don't in the act of watching a film, I could kind of feel myself slipping and checking out. And once I get to a certain point, it's really hard to get me back, man. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And like I said, that stuff was great at the end, but by then I was just like, damn, why couldn't it have all been as interesting as this for me? I don't know. Like I said, I'm an outlier. Maybe it seems like it worked for way more people than it didn't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And undeniably, this thing is still like I think 97%. Rotten Tomatoes on the professional side. It's still in the high 90s on the viewer side. So
Okay.
maybe I'm just an outlier. Maybe I'm just in like. But you got to see it, man. So you got to see this to make up your own mind. And the theater is going to be the best place to see it. I mean, the crowd I was with, man, when the things got crazy. Like they were all in it. You know what I'm saying? They
I'm
was
just
there.
saying, there's a part to where you have somebody roaming around in this area, and it's doggone scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
All right, so my next one is going to be a film called Sketch, and this film is out now in theaters. It came out August 6th. There's some controversy around it too. I'll get into that later. But in this film, fantastical creatures come to life when a young girl's sketchbook falls into a strange pond. As the town starts to unravel, she and her brother try to track down the unpredictable, chaotic, and dangerously real monsters before they cause permanent damage. Racing against time to find them, their father must navigate a community in crisis to reunite his family and stop the disaster that they never meant to unleash. This is directed by Seth Worley, and our cast, a lot of young cast. There's a lot of kids in here, including our main characters. But we got Tony Hale, who plays Taylor Wyatt, our dad who's raising these two kids. Their mom passed away, which is interesting, dynamic going on here. So I guess they're dealing with her grief and still navigating, going to school, being new kids in this town, this community. Darcy Carden plays Liz White, his sister, who comes in and helps a little bit. And so our main characters, we've got Allie Wyatt. She plays Allie McCullough, the daughter here, the one that does the drawings. We've also got Q Lawrence, who plays her brother, so they make up the two kids. And another standout performance here is Callan Cox, who just plays a kind of a brat that goes to their school with them. But what happens in this film, man? Just by wandering out, the son discovers this pond on his property, right? So and he's just messing around, bumbling around. He drops his phone in the pond, right? And the screen cracks. So he pulls the phone out and he cuts his hand in the process as well. He cuts his hand, pulls the phone out, realizes not only is his phone fixed, but the wound on his hand is gone. So something about this pond has really crazy properties, man. So he gets this crazy idea to throw his mom's ashes in there. I guess thinking that would bring her back. So fortunately he doesn't. But what ends up happening, man, I think there's an accident and the daughter's book ends up in this pond, and she's been using her drawings as a way to deal with her mom's loss. There's people at school. She'll draw pictures of them, monsters killing them in violent ways. You know what I'm saying? So these creatures come to life, these things in this book, and start manifesting in this town. And it goes from there, man. But what I did enjoy about this film is just you got this family story, which is kind of cool. But then there's part Goonies, part Ghostbusters. And the crazy thing about this film, dude, this thing, man, you talk about a horror tone. This film was rated PG, bro. Like this thing has heavy horror vibes. Like I don't know what was going on. Like it's funny because I'm sitting there, I'm next to this dad and his son and shit. They're sitting next to me, and the dad is like, "Is this a scary movie?" He's like, "I can't hold your hand." Like, and I'm like, "Yo, this show's PG, bro." But dude, I'm telling you, man, this thing has some of the best horror energy I've seen in a long time. Just from what you're used to getting from horror, just the suspenseful music, the angles. Like it was crazy. I'm watching this thing and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but there are some intense stuff, which is the controversy, man. So apparently, this film is made by a company that's is put out by a company that's mostly known for doing these kind of religious, inspirational type films.
Okay.
I think the company name is Angel, right? So that's a controversy. Like when I'm looking at the negative reviews or you see an ad running for this and you look at the reviews, most of them are coming from parents who were not prepared for this film to
What?
be so
Okay.
kind of dark at times and gritty and it's PG, so there's a little bit of cussing, but they're little kids. They don't get out of control or too crazy. And they're like, yeah, I took my kid and he's kind of scared now. And then some people was like, yo, my kid really enjoyed this. But I think for the most part, this film feels like this is like my first horror movie, man. If you're going to introduce your kid to that genre safely, this would probably qualify that. But there was so much here that worked for me, man. This thing was bubbling, and I think it's probably more adult, like the stuff that's going on. There's a lot of stuff in here adults can appreciate because I think really the family story here is really good, man. Like especially with the dad trying to like one of the problems is the dad is just not addressing this at all, and and the brother he's dealing with it in his own way. Like I said, trying to bring his mom back to life, and the daughter seems to be the only one that has developed something. Even though these
Okay.
drawings are a little bit crazy and intense, but it's her the way of dealing with her feelings and these emotions. And one of the craziest drawings she draws seems to be this entity that comes out and is out here trying to really alter things and make it so, they're trying to manifest and take over, like, yo, I like it here. You know what I'm saying? Like just, bringing that energy to life and personifying it. But this thing was really good, dude. Like I'm definitely going to check this out when it comes back out again. I highly recommend people see it in the theater, especially if you are fans of horror. And this is a horror film, man. As far as I'm concerned, it's not billed as that. Right now it's sitting here. It says fantasy comedy. I think it should be fantasy horror comedy, mixed in because this thing, the vibes are there, man. This is one of the best. Like, I want to see this director do a real horror movie now. You know what I'm saying? Something where they could go balls to the wall. There's not no age restrictions. But even with that, man, I think what's cool about it too is the special effects, the monsters. Beautiful, man. Like just the way that they brought these characters to life is definitely a film that was made on a low budget, but they squeezed everything out of it just with creativity. Like there's these little spider monsters she drew with they're like They got red. They're all red with an eyeball in the middle, and their main thing is to steal stuff. So there's one point where these things infest the house, and all of a sudden, all of their fucking whole house ends up by this pond, which is kind of how the drawings end up getting into the thing too. But it's cool, man. And the finale is amazing. And at one point, they actually team up with the bratty kid, and that kid was funny as hell, man. He looks like this rapper named Milk that I've been listening to lately. Looks like a little version of him. The kid, Kalen Cox, who plays Bolin Lynch, and he steals every scene that he's in, man. He's just a little snot, but he's really funny, man. And by the end, they're kind of all pals. But yeah, man, I really had a good time watching this, man. I think I gave this thing probably like a 4.5.
Okay.
It's that good, dude. So besides the controversy, like I said, man, this is a mostly Christian inspirational film. So I think that a lot of that audience just went with the brand and thinking this was something that's going to be safe. And I think it does. It still has a positive vibe. It doesn't get preachy. It doesn't bring up the specifics of religion or anything at all like that, but it does still have a positive message. But I think, like I said, the fact that it did have these horror vibes freaked a lot of these viewers out. And one thing that is controversial too, at the very end, they say, wait, there's a timer that comes on 1 minute until I was like, oh, do we get a bonus scene? Well, they got an app now. So they said, download this app and you could turn your kids' drawings into monsters and bring them to life. So controversy is it's an AI app. So you could doodle on it and it uses the AI to make a little monster that moves around on the screen. You can take a picture of it and all that. So that's kind of, a lot of people have been really hardcore anti-AI, but I don't know. It is what it is. Like the movie was good. That part came on at the end and it didn't take me out. I was like, all right, I see what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, I have been seeing some of that too in the comments. Like, oh, their AI app. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, this thing, you got to pay the bills. I don't know. I don't know what it
Yeah.
went into getting
Yeah.
this thing built. There might have been also some crowdfunding stuff too, because I think they were saying if an adult was to buy a ticket, I think they have a website, then you can also get a ticket for the kid for free or something like that. It's to encourage people to see it. But I definitely encourage you to see it however way you can. This is a good time. If that stuff doesn't bother you, man, this is one of my I had a great time watching this, bro. This is one of my best movie theater trips, this summer, in general, It's just a fun time, man.
Okay.
Great. Really great performances, special effects, story. Yeah, it's all there, man. But I think that's it, man. Anything else
I
you want to mention before you get out of here?
Yeah. About this box set during the Criterion sale. Xbox.
Oh,
The
Small X.
Small Axe. Oh, what did I say? Xbox. Small Axe. And this
Yeah.
is like not five films by the director Steve McQueen. If nobody knows Steve McQueen,
Hmm.
um, he's he's not the action star from the 70s. He's actually
Hmm.
a British director. He directed 12 Years a Slave, a film called Hunger. Uh, what's the Widows? He directed that film also.
Hmm.
That's his last film I think he directed was Willows, but Widows. But with this series, you're in London between I guess 1969 and 1982, and
Hmm.
you follow a group of West Indians, from like Jamaica and all that, that were coming, that pretty much came back to help rebuild Britain at one point after World
Hmm.
War II. Um, this was a real good, like I said, it's five films in it. One or two of them were like okay, but it's like three of them really hit hard. I
Hmm.
thought were real good films, and those are I guess my favorite out of all of them was Mandrake, and that pretty much was like
Or the Mangrove.
Mangrove. What did I say? Mandrake. Oh,
Mandrake.
my bad. Mangrove.
Ain't that the poisonous herb? I
Yeah, yeah.
don't know.
Man, I'm reading it now. Mangrove was like my favorite of the lot. It was about this restaurant that that this man had set up, and he was just getting harassed by the police, and that was just because they were West Indians, blacks, owning something in London, and it just showed how they started like a protest or whatever, and it just ended up being a court case because it ended up being a bit of a riot.
Yeah, that was funny, man. I definitely love that. That court case and that thing got out of control, bro. It was hilarious.
But that
Yeah,
was based on a true story. I think all these were somewhat loosely based on true stories or true events with some of these.
You know what tripped me out about that mangrove? Like, it's funny because that one guy was in there, the guy that played hi hats and attacked the block. He was the main gangster, but then to see him in Mangrove just being a regular guy with the afro, I was like, what is this? Because it's got a lot of these British guys in it, man. That's one thing that was cool.
Wright was in it. That's Black Panther now. What's her name in Black Panther?
Shuri.
Yeah, she's Shuri in Black Panther. But there's a couple other actors the guy that's from Star Wars.
Yeah, the names, yo, I'm terrible right now, but I know what you're talking about, man. But
they don't have him.
It's escaping me right now. Yeah, but you're talking about John Boyega. We've also got Michael Ward is also in this. Just names that people might recognize. Or
John Boyega is also from
Daniel Francis, man. He's also. I didn't know he was British then. Daniel Francis, because he was in that thing Treme back in the day. I used to watch that. I used to love that show. Yeah, man. So yeah, there's a lot of people in here. If you've watched a lot of British films, you'll recognize his face. Kadeem Ramsey from Top Boy. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, but really, really great casting and really great acting, man. And like I said, I think it's interesting that pretty much the same stuff that we were going through here in America, being black, they were going through the same thing being in, London and Great Britain, you know what I'm saying, being black, just slightly cultural differences, but it's the same struggle, man,
And Britain's always had blacks there, but that's what I kind of wanted to know about. Was there a difference between the West Indians and the blacks that were already there?
Well, the difference is the ones that they brought in because there was that big thing. It was post.
They're trying to rebuild Britain, yeah.
It was post World War II, so in a way. So that's when they started letting a lot of people in, mostly from places they had colonized previously. So you had some Africans. I think Ghana. That was a British colony, but then also the islands. Jamaica. And just British Isles, things of that nature.
Indians. You had Indians that were going there, from India.
So that was all happening. And then there was a cultural resistance to that. Like it's almost brought up in that what was that film with Michael Ward and Olivia Colman? And they kind of touched on that a little bit
about the movie theater.
Yeah. Where those Nazis guys or the skinheads were coming through, or I don't even know if they were skinheads or Nazis, but there was that group that was kind of their version of the right wing arm of that country. Resisting. I mean, same thing that would lead later on to just recently the Brexit kind of stuff. These sentiments. So feeling like their country's being overtaken by foreigners, but which is weird because first of all, you overtook their countries. Like it's just really weird, warp kind of things that was happening. But yeah, it's cool. Like I said, it's cool seeing this stuff that I didn't have any window of, including Boyega's case where he was the first kind of black cop on patrol out there and seeing how his fellow officers were treating him, and that was kind of crazy,
That's real messed up.
That's a good
show. This series is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, check out any of that Alien Earth yet? Boom.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes, I loved them.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the first one. I gotta finish watching. I'll probably finish watching tonight. But I did really like what I saw so far, man. I guess that first episode kind of set stuff in motion, but I think the biggest reveal to me with that was I always thought Wile E. Utani was the biggest
only company
threat, but it's like 5 of them. And they all kind of have specialties, and they're all just dividing up the earth and space, and it's just crazy, man. That layering, and it's just I always like because I think what worked for me with Aliens is just the richness of the world they created. There's so much to dig around and poke around in. This doesn't even involve the creatures, so I'm
Yeah,
already
yeah,
intrigued, on that level, and it's just really great high level sci-fi.
yeah. When we get into this series, I think we're going to be learning a little bit about the politics on Earth, and
Hmm.
just
Yeah,
how human rights and everything. Because
yeah, I
like
want to see all that.
if you notice, like people get under contract, they can't really go anywhere. Just like we saw in Alien Romulus,
Hmm. Yeah, man, you
you
consigning
pretty
your
much
life
indentured servants
for
in a way.
for years, bro.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you're at the whim of your bosses in a crazy way, man.
yeah. And you kind of see why Yaphet Kotto and homeboy
You get my
were having a fit
shares.
about the bonuses. Yeah,
The bonus. Let's
yeah,
talk about the bonus situation.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
one thing I
man.
always thought that was nice. Kind of blew my mind about the first Alien film. These two
Hmm.
motherfuckers in space worried about money.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
real thing. That was
No, it keeps coming back around because even in
yeah,
Romulus, it's about the money,
yeah.
So that's cool seeing that stuff. Next week though, I think one I'm gonna go for is a Primitive War. So this it's a Fathom event, so I'm gonna have to come out of pocket a little bit. But I'm really interested in this film, man. It's like Vietnam and dinosaurs. But it's playing. I think it's got a limited run, so it's playing. I think Thursday night here. So I don't know if it's gonna be playing continuously, but they brought that up. There's another Screen Unseen Monday, so they're saying the film is rated R. It's at 2 hours and 13 minutes. So I'm not ready to guess what that'll be right now. The Roses is going to be an early access on the 27th, so it looks going to be probably going to be September when that finally hits. Caught Stealing premieres on the 23rd, so that's also next Friday film. I might check that out, man. I'm kind of, is that the Danny Boyle one? With Austin Butler,
No,
or that's Aronofsky.
that's Aronofsky, and
So
that seems like that's more of a Coen brother type film than anything he's done.
yeah, that's kind of weird though to me. I'm looking at this.
The last couple film, some of the newer films that's coming out this year kind of have like the Coen brothers vibe.
I
But
feel
I
like this is the
like
same film because I swear I've been seeing these trailers back to back, and I'm trying to find a. It's so hard for me to find out what is the real differences between these films because DiCaprio has a film that has these same vibes about to come out. I can't remember the name of it, but when those
that's
trailers come on, I'm like, is
that's
this the same movie that we that we made twice and put out at the same time?
yeah that was what's the guy's name? The guy
Oh,
that did Inherent Vice
okay, okay.
was
I
married
think
to
I know.
Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
know what you're talking about, but I gotta look it up. It's not coming to me right away. We do get the Roses at the end of the month. That's on the 29th. Texas Chainsaw, they're putting that in theaters on August 18th only. So that's Friday, I believe, or Saturday. No. What's today? 14th. So that's gonna be like next Monday, I think. Something like that.
the 14th.
Um, yes.
Today's the today's the
Today's the
14th.
14th, so that's gonna be the 18th. Actually, I can
Okay.
just bring the calendar. Yeah, Monday. Want to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the theater? You could go Monday. We also got Black Swan is getting re-released on August 21st. Remastered for IMAX. That's a wild film. I don't know if I'll go check that out in the theater though. I feel
Highest
like
to the
once was
lowest
enough for me. Like I don't think the meltdown is pretty good, but once was enough for me.
highest to the lowest is supposed to be like released like tomorrow, but it's only one of my only theater. It's only one theater in my area that's showing it.
Yeah, I'll
So I
probably
don't
have to
know.
go to the really really art house joint in DC to go see that
And then I had to
because
come
it
out of
ain't.
pocket on that because that's not an AMC at all.
Yeah, it's not
And
playing
then,
AMC.
but it will be on Apple TV Plus like September.
I'm gonna
But
check my local listings
I
and try
want to
to.
actually get in the theater though.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to check in my local listings and see the theaters. So we got Honey Don't that's coming out, and this is by Ethan Cohen. And I can't remember if he's the same one that did Drive Away Dolls because
Yeah, it
it's
is.
yeah, and I didn't like that a lot. So I don't know. I might wait for this one to check it out.
I'm gonna watch it just because I'm a Coen's Brothers fan, but at the same time, him and his wife have been making these films that haven't really been hitting. Like when the Coen's Brothers themselves, But the
Hmm.
two of them,
Yeah, I think they're
Ethan
better
and
together than apart.
yeah, yeah,
Because I
yeah.
feel like they can
Both of
compensate
the
for each
what?
other's shortcomings. You know.
Yeah, yeah. They do a bit better when they're working
Hmm.
together. But the last
We
time
do
we saw
got
them do making that thing was that the crap. What's Shakespeare?
talking about the Macbeth.
Macbeth. Yeah, Macbeth was the
Yeah.
last thing they did together.
Hmm. With that jacked up aspect ratio.
Yeah.
But
I really
yeah.
I really didn't mind that one, but I just my whole thing with aspect ratios. Zack Snyder really pissed me off with aspect ratios when he did to that Snyder cut on for that
Mhm.
for Justice League. I
Yep.
pretty much just but I,
He jacked that up. But
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
know
see
he
the
jacked
only
it up
thing
bad.
else that I see they got on this coming soon is a film called Eden. And I actually do got an advanced copy of that. So I might try to check that out before so we can review it. I don't know if I might just go see it in the theater, but I do got it, I got it now. So
Oh,
I
really?
might just watch it.
Jude Law and
But that one's looks kind of interesting. It looks to be like they're a bunch of people moved to this remote island trying to start a new kind of life in a way. Yeah, so they abandoned civilization, settling on a remote, uninhabited island, only to discover that the greatest threat isn't the brutal climate or deadly wildlife, but each other. So it's kind of like some adult Lord of the Flies. Cast is
okay.
crazy though. We got Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, Anna De Armas, Daniel Brawl, Sydney Sweeney, Ron Howard directed. And
Vanessa
and
Kirby's
he's the
in it too.
producer on this. And Ron Howard, I like him as a director, so I'll
Yeah.
give it a shot. But yeah, I think that's it, man. Yeah, go to the movies, go see some stuff, because that's all I got. Anything else you want to mention before we get
No,
out of
I'm
here?
good.
Yeah, all right. That's what's up, folks. So check us out, man. You can see we got plenty of stuff on my screen back here, plenty of episodes you can go and check out.
Yeah, I
Uh
saw myself back there. I see myself.
yeah, I just turned the YouTube channel on, man. I gotta let it play. So this thing will play for days if I let it. That's how much stuff we put out, you know what I'm saying, since we've
My
been doing
question is,
this
will
video
YouTube
format.
flag you for showing yourself on here?
Yeah, it shouldn't. I
Okay.
don't think it'll pick us up. I don't know because it's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
For some reason, this camera, this angle is putting a little blur on it. So I don't think they can make it out. And
Okay.
how can I copyright strike on myself? I
I
don't think
don't
that's
know.
possible. but
Thank
yeah,
you
we're
for
going to
that.
be out of here, folks, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, tell your friends about us. We're also on social media. You can check it out at Classic Cinematics on Instagram. We're also on TikTok, I believe, at Classic Cinematics. So Classic Cinematics, that's going to be the umbrella for all of this stuff, including from the Canopy Film Show. So you can catch all of us here, including the uncut episodes. So when I put these up, they initially go out without no edits, but then I chop them up into individual episodes for the reviews in case someone just wants to get straight to the together review. They don't have to watch this whole thing or try to find a spot where it appears. But yeah, and catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
Or I'm gonna start talking with my hands now.
Hey, man, sometimes it's easier
My
to,
name
to
is
keep the
Cornelius.
brain going.
Or else you can find me on
Sometimes.
Facebook. I'm not that coordinated to talk with my hands. My name's Cornelius Bros. You can find me on Facebook, Cornelius Bros, on Instagram, Cornelius Bros, on TikTok at Cornelius 1976, where I just watch videos. I found out that we have TikTok channel, Classic Cinematic, so I'll probably go there and probably watch myself.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Well, we're going to be out of here, folks. I just saw something funny online, man. It's cracking me up. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time, folks. Peace.